We're done. Oh yeah. Okay, I might have stepped out for a second. Yeah, so hearing, I want to get into this, like, what do we call for quality? How do we interpret quality? So what do we mean by quality of a scoring action? What kind of words come? If it's flatter on the edge, okay, yeah, what else? I'll get there. You know, Autumn, you've been to too many judge trainings. You know where we're going. Thank you for your, I'll tip it over to you in about 30 seconds.
Structure.
Yes, structure. Okay, what do you mean by structure?
Structure. If I come in with like the loosest, goosiest thrust with no weight or anything behind it,
yeah,
like, and my sword bounces off them, like,
yeah. In a real sword fight, you know, would that have wounded somebody or not? Yeah. Part of that is structure. Part of that is edge alignment. What other things are we looking for, interested in? Penetration, right? Well, we don't want to have anything penetrate. Looking at you, Blackhorns Cup 2025. For those of you who don't know, there was an untipped rapier that went through up somebody's arm and stopped by their rib cage. So always tip your weapons. I might cut that from that because they don't like that, but whatever. I digress. So penetration. So what do we use in place of penetration since we're not trying to kill our friends? Blade flex, right? Do we need? We had a conversation off camera during lunch. Do we need this blade to flex? If I may, do I need this blade to flex this far in order for this to be a quality thrust? No. Not necessarily. That's probably sufficient. If I can feel that, if I can see some give in the shoulder on the jacket, that's probably enough, but it's up to you, right? Yeah. So what else? What about cuts? We talked about edge alignment. What about?
I guess the easiest way to tell the edge alignment in a cut would be the cross guard, if it's like you're trying to see it in motion.
Yeah, for sure, right? But what about, was that cut enough?
Was there enough contact?
Was there enough contact, right? What does a cut do if I can grab your sword? I'm just grabbing everyone else's swords beside me. If I throw a cut like that versus a cut like that, what are we looking at here? What's the difference?
Your elbows and your shoulders.
Right, but what looking at, think geometry. Arc of motion, rotation, right? So what I use, and credit to Frank Zamory of the Ohio River Valley League for coming up with this acronym of CRITTS, C-R-I-T-T-S, actually, I had a second T. It is an acronym to help us understand and remember specific criteria for whether or not we call something quality. Now these are you don't have to have every single one of these checked off in order to call it quality. But generally, if you're trying to determine quality, having a common vernacular helps you interpret this better. Autumn, could you please tell us what CRITTS is?
Contact, rotation, intention.
There's two T's, actually. So contact, rotation, intent, time, target, and structure. So I kind of fooled you a little bit. I'm actually adding a second T. So it used to be contact, rotation, intention, timing, structure. Congratulations, you're getting the debut of the second T. C is for contact. Was there sufficient contact of the blade on the body? R is rotation. Did that cut have sufficient rotation, or did the thrust have sufficient flex? Because there's like arc in the thrust. Intent. If I'm just doing random stuff with my sword and I accidentally make contact with someone, do I want to reward that or not? Timing, was that within tempo or out of tempo for an afterglow to be a scoring action? Target, where did that actually hit? And did it hit in a valid scoring target or an invalid action, like an illegal, like back of head or cervical spine or something like that? Was it a correct target? And the S is structure. Did you actually have edge on line with the appropriate like technique, or did you just kind of and hope for the best? Contact, rotation, intention, timing, target, structure. The reason why we use that acronym is because it helps with our communication. So now we go back to, point your finger and water bottle for a second. And I have my two assistant judges. Now redo that exact same thrust inside. Connor, did that have sufficient contact?
Yes.
As opposed to, all right, over here, judges in. So what did we see? What did you see?
When he was thrusting his finger back a little bit, and I saw the shirt.
Okay, yeah. See the difference in efficiency of communication. If we use the same criteria or quality metrics and agree on them, then the communication's a lot faster and things can keep going. And that works really importantly well if you have two flights of, how many people did we have in longsword? We had 84 fencers in pools of 7, and we got done in like 4 hours. A lot of that was because our judges were trained to say, well, I don't think there was enough rotation to guarantee that cut. Okay, not sufficient quality, we're gonna score it this way. And you cut 10 to 15 seconds off of every potential conversation of the judges, and that adds up times several hundred over the course of a day. And now you have a longsword tournament that is much more efficient. Does everyone kind of see how that comes together? Yeah, go for it.
The other part of that is when you are judging or being judged, if they say had insufficient contact, you know what happened.
Yes, right?
As a participant as well.
Yeah,
It's
you
a-
do
it's
the
a
same
tilt.
thing 5 times that tournament. You just walked away with something you know that you can work on.
But it's also tilt repellent.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean, oh wait, the judges don't like me. They're not calling my hits fairly. Well, if every judge is saying insufficient rotation on your cuts, well, that's on you, buddy, right?
Right.
And so, but it's also informative in the moment of like, okay, well, next time I need to put more rotation on the cut, as opposed to, hey, come together, we need to have a conversation. You'd like actually act this out for a second. It's like, I think there was rotation contact. Was there enough there? Yeah, okay. Yeah. 2 points, Joe. What happened?
Wow.
Exactly. Okay. Thrust with sufficient penetration from Joe to Sarah, 2 points, Joe. Now we have communication skills built onto that. And that's the second set of acronyms we're going to talk about in a second. But before we get there, we're going to use crits in action. So now I need people who are actually ready to fence. While they're getting set up, I'm going to explain this game to the camera. This game is called rigged passes. So I am going to rig particular exchanges, and I'm going to have an assistant judge declare what happened. So it's kind of an evolution of what we were doing before with the freeze frame game. Now we're going to let it go to completion, but I'm going to tell one of the fencers, here's what we're doing. And then the assistant judges have to use contact, rotation, intention, timing, target, structure as language to try to interpret whether or not an action was sufficient quality. So you're almost ready. Fantastic. Autumn's always ready for judging. Thank you so much. Masks on, please, when you're ready. Autumn, I'm going to rig things for Autumn because I like them. Hope that's okay. Not that I don't like you, but I like Autumn, right? But we're going to go back and forth. Okay. So for this action, I want you to just graze his mask. Just graze his mask. Okay. You're going to get hit in the face. Just take it. Okay. Fences on guard. Ready. Fence. Halt. Back to your corners. What did we see?
Saw some amalgamation of a thrust and a cut.
Okay. Was there contact?
Yes.
Okay, great. Excellent. So let's use that language. What did we see in terms of judging technique? Who got hit? Right. Exactly. And so would that have sufficient contact? Was there rotation, intention? Okay, sounds good. Second pass, I'm going to rig it. Short thrust. Don't quite make it. Okay, just like to the neck, but don't quite make it. He's going to try to thrust. They're going to try to thrust to your neck, and it's not going to connect. So we're going to have to say insufficient contact. Okay. Fences on guard. Ready, fence. Halt! Back to your corners, please. What did we see?
No contact.
No contact. That thrust, did it have contact or no? Its thrust did not have sufficient contact. Therefore, we're going to not assign points to that, whatever the scoring system is. Last one, I'm going to rig in favor, okay? I want you to flat tack in Autumn's hands, like with the flat of your sword. Okay. You're going to get tack into their hands, but it's going to be flat. Fences on guard. Ready, fence! Halt! Retreat, back to your corners. What do we see?
Autumn may have gotten
May have gotten hit in the hands. Okay, where, what, tell me more about the hit. Use CRITTS language. What did you see or not see?
I saw contact with Brian's blade on the crossguard of.
On the crossguard, did it make it through to the hand?
I am not sure.
From my, let's say from my angle, I thought it did land. I thought it did land. Is it a scoring action?
I saw sufficient rotation in the cut.
You saw sufficient rotation. Okay, was anything missing?
The structure, I saw the flat hit.
It was flat, yep, and I rigged the game for it to be flat. So it's like there might have been contact, there was sufficient rotation, but the structure was flat, therefore no points. So now the deliberation's more efficient. Does everyone kind of see how this helps? As opposed to, I thought that might have happened. No, I didn't see it had sufficient structure. My assistant judge was down the barrel to make that call. Sound good? So now we're going to break into groups of 4. Pairs of fencers, someone who's going to rig the exchange, someone who's going to interpret the exchange. And then someone's going to rig a couple times. Just make it really simple, single passes like that. And then the other fencer or the other judge trainee is going to make the interpretation, and then we're going to rotate back and forth. Does that sound good?